Carl Munson here from Expats Portugal, and this is number 15 of 1,000 Things to Enjoy in Portugal. Wine Spectator magazine described Portugal as the most exciting wine place on the planet. Here, where variety, quality and value converge, there's a 4,000-year-old tradition of winemaking, including a full house of red, white, rosé, sparkling and fortified delights. Many producers across the handful of Portuguese winemaking regions, or DOCs, have extended their production facilities to include tours, dining and accommodation. World of Wine, or simply WOW, has joined this nationwide wine tourism trail, boasting a new attraction of 6 museums and 9 restaurants in the country's wine capital, Porto. Consider for a moment Matias Rosé, Port wine, Madeira and the breathtakingly beautiful Douro landscape, and you realise the global reach of Portuguese wine. And then realise that this is a mere scratch on the surface of Portugal's vinicultural abundance. Good morning, Carl Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show from expatsportugal.com. There's me trying to sum up the delight that is Portuguese wine in 60 seconds. That is a really tough job, but I left you there hanging with, you see Matias Rosé, we know about ports, we know about Madeira wine, and I'm beginning to find out a lot more about the fizz over here in Portugal, but they're just scratching the surface. There is so much to find out about Portuguese wine. I hope I did it justice there, and that is dedicated to my stepfather, who sadly passed away after a long illness yesterday morning, in the early hours of yesterday morning. And thank you so much to all of you. You've been so kind with your wonderful messages of condolence, and I put a little sort of eulogy thing up on my Facebook profile that some of you saw and chipped in to say what a fabulous bloke he sounded. He liked a glass of wine, so that's why I dedicated that to him and made that about Portuguese wine. So rest in peace, Bucko. Lots of love to you. Be free, stepdad, and I imagine enjoying a tipple or two with his great heroes like Oliver Reed and Robert Mitchum around us in the universe somewhere. Few comments coming in before we do a new feature here on Good Morning Portugal. This is very exciting this morning. We've got a kind of through the Quinta Keyhole. Do you remember Sean? You know Sean from our community, Sean Maguire. Bom dia, my dear. We'll hear him say it in person today. Oh, he's just disappeared from the green room. That's a bit worrying. But we've got some lovely footage of the exterior of his property. You know, on Tuesdays, we basically do Consumer Day. Part of that, of course, would be to look at property in Portugal. And I just think it's really exciting, the variety of property and places to live in Portugal. The phrase that always comes to mind for me is that 3-word phrase, spoilt for choice. We are spoilt for choice on places to live. We're spoilt for choice on the beauty and diversity and variety of properties. And we're going to make a little journey towards central Portugal today, Castelo Branco district, and a little place called Serta, and then a little village near Serta where Sean is waiting at the moment to show us around his property. How exciting is that? So we will we'll just have a very quick look at the weather, because it's kind of crucial at the moment to find out if it suddenly occurred to me today. Portugal, you could spell that P-O-U-R, as in it's been pouring down, it feels like, for a month now. And I also had this really strange thought as well this morning, actually, as I was gathering myself. It was only like 5 weeks ago, wasn't it, since Christmas? Does that seem to you like a very distant memory now? It's not that long ago, is it? 30 odd days ago? But it seems like a really long time ago. Does Christmas 2020? So yeah, that occurred to me. And Portugal, as in pouring down in Portugal. But at least said about that, soonest mended. Lisbon at the moment, 14 degrees and broken clouds. We have a high of 16 today, but still rain as far as the eye can see for the rest of the week. You know what they say, though, having started with wine this morning. I mean, not started with wine this morning, but a little feature about wine. No rain, no wine. There is our consolation, folks, and obviously no food or anything useful. We need the rain, but we also need moderation in all things. Porto, 12 degrees, broken clouds, high of 14 in Porto, and rain forecast every day. From here until next Monday. Unbelievable. Coimbra, 13 degrees, broken clouds, high of 16 today. Similarly, rain is forecast. A let up at the moment. It's not too bad out the studio window. Faro, 14 degrees, broken clouds, 16 the high. A dry day in Faro today. Good for you if you're down there, the likes of Paul and Peggy down there in the south. Higher 16, but rain coming in again from tomorrow for for the rest of the week and into next week. Incredible weather here in Portugal. So let's say a few hellos before we go to near Certa in Castelo Branco to talk to Sean this morning. Oh, hello, Louise. Louise is here this morning. Bon dia. I've been busy. So missed a few mornings, as in so missed it or so missed it. Maybe both. Getting in early to say hello. Hi to you, Louise. How's it going? How's that channel of yours? Solo 50 plus. Expats Portugal. We're delighted on Expats Portugal to have gone up to 3,000 subscribers overnight. So thank you to everybody who joins us via YouTube, including Andre. Jandi Bon Dia Torres. Just a message from Andre this morning. Joel's up there in Porto. Eric down in the south. Bon Dia. Great art show yesterday. Wasn't that fun, Eric? Really good to talk to Deborah yesterday. Carolyn, bon dia to you, Carolyn in Moscow. Gail Lynn, bon dia. Alegria. Bon dia, Alegria. In Leiria. No, she's not in Leiria. She's, I don't know where. Obrigada. Filomena Friday, yes. Thank you, Gail. That all falls into place now. Bon dia, Alegria. So sorry for your losses, Carolyn. Yeah, thank you to all of you who continuing to support me and send your condolences. Really, really, really appreciate it and get a sense of how wonderful our community is here. So yeah, thank you, Louise. Thank you, Carolyn. Thank you, Adrian. Sorry to hear about your dad. You have my condolences. Peggy, deepest condolences. Thank you all. Bless you all. Nick Steinman in London. Bon dia. Frank's here, everybody, from the Man Cave. Another great session on Friday night. Bon dia to you, Frank, in Coimbra. Bon dia, everyone, from Antonio F. Riesel Furtado. Bon dia. Varachetti. Bon dia, everyone. Waiting to leave the UK soon. Pouring down here too. No surprises there. Jacqueline Branco. Good morning from Obidos. Hey, I had some of that ginginha last night, Jacqueline. Very nice. Down to the cherries that are in the glass as well. Bon dia from Rainy with pea-sized hail. Is some we go. Oh, Carmen, the seed swapping idea. Somebody's well up for that. There was a recent message in our Get Out and Grow Happy Homesteaders group. If you wouldn't mind making the acquaintance of that person who couldn't remember, they remembered you, but they couldn't remember your name and how to get in touch with you. So seed swapping. I think we're moving with that project over there and our Get Out and Grow and Happy Homesteaders group. Ginny Austin, sorry to hear about your stepdad. Thanks, Ginny, really appreciate it. Pete Bleach, bon dia. The question is, can any keyhole beat the well-polished wood ability to relieve yourself whilst playing darts or Bromicharm of Garvo's dungeon? That is our benchmark. The gas bar in Alvazra. All properties will be measured against that. Absolutely. Steady on there, Pete, this morning. Don't mind the rain as long as it's warm. Say Dave and Debbie Wine. Oh, that's a good point of order there. Yeah. It's not so bad, really. It's sort of never ending is what it feels like. Hola, bon dia from Australia. Sorry to hear about your loss from Gail. Thank you, Gail. Gary, sending you my deepest respects, my friend. Tough days, brother. Yeah, for us both there, Gary. Lots of love to you, mate. Virtual hug to you, Gaz in the Gaz bar there. It's condolences from Albufeira. Oh, thanks, Maz. Appreciate it. Guiomar Rabello, a new name here, I think. Guiomar, what a lovely name. Bon dia. Sorry to hear about your stepdad, says Rizal. And finally, for now, Owen, sending my comfort for your loss. And that means a lot, Owen. I'm feeling it, mate. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. So, Consumer Tuesday, we haven't moaned about mobile phone companies for weeks now, it feels. And I'm also aware we don't really do enough about property. So here's your chance. Show us yours through the Quinta Keyhole. Get on screen with me, as Sean is doing now. Good morning, Sean. How are you? Good morning. Very well, thanks. Can you say it to us in person, Sean? Normally in the comments you say "Bon dia, my dear," and I try and do an Irish accent. Do you want to say it to us in person this morning? Carl, that was so last year. I'm so sorry. Have you got a new one, 2021? No, just good morning. Oh, okay. You know that I'm going to continue to say it. You very kindly recorded an external of the property yesterday, which I can play later. Pretty blowy, blustery day, and that's why I think you sent it, because it might be raining today. But we're inside the property this morning, and you're going to give us a little bit of a tour, right? Well, I'll do my best. Hopefully the internet holds out. So I'm in the middle of the house at the moment, in the living room. Yeah. Which is a large room with 3 small rooms off it. Yeah. And
One of them is a bathroom, which needs completely updating, of course.
Yeah.
The roof is out, and then there's two small bedrooms. I'm sorry?
Okay. I say it still has a certain charm, that bathroom.
It does, yeah. It's we fell in love with the house. We could see how it could be, of course.
Yeah.
The doors are really beautiful, old 19th century doors.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
And yeah, it still has a lot of character, but I think this ceiling definitely would have to go. And then you would have a really nice pointed ceiling.
Why
I would take it all out.
Why is that?
I would open it up completely, and then you'd have a good 2 bedrooms. So you'd have 1 bedroom on that side of the house with an ensuite and a walk-in wardrobe. Yes. And then on the other side of the house, you'd have another. You could have a little apartment there, a separate apartment if you wanted. Because at the moment there's 10 rooms on this floor, which will still be a really good size when you take. It needs changes. I mean, it's for the price you're going to have to spend maybe another 10,000-15,000 to get it up to date.
Hold on a minute, Sean. You said there are 10 rooms off on that floor.
Yes, and then of course there's underneath as well, which is a garage and several sheds which were used for animals. Which most of them have dirt floors still. There's one really large room underneath this end bedroom, which would make a fantastic kitchen. Yeah. I can see it. The walls, they're the original stone walls. We can go down there if you want. It's a bit dark, but I'll try and show you.
I think people would like. So here we are. We are at the Maguire Mansion.
Yeah.
10.
Okay.
10
so this is. Ceilings are really nice still. So this is the main door. I'm going into the.
Oh, so we might get a
basement
bit of
now, which
back. Outside.
So I've just opened that door. Yeah, it's very dark. It's a bit of a dull day today, so it's quite dark.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see anything here or not. It's actually built on the bedrock. So.
Oh, I see. I'm getting history. I'm getting a great sense of history and tradition, typical of that part of Central Portugal. This is rural. This is farming folk. This is the homestead life, isn't it?
The walls are really thick, of course. But again, down here you'd need to do quite a bit of work. But it could make a fantastic. I can see it in my mind's eye. A huge workbench around the sides and a big.
Right. This is our challenge this morning. We've got
kitchen table in the middle. Would look lovely.
Yeah. Amazing. We've got Lorna's on, Sean. Good morning. Sean Maguire's nieces and nephews watching in Ireland. Hello. Good morning, Lorna.
Hi, Lorna.
There's enough room for everybody there.
All the
nephews. Fantastic. So where are we now? Then? Are we in one of the 10 bedrooms off the main room again? Back
this
up
would be the main bedroom, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So, again, then there's this room off the main bedroom, which would probably make a really nice ensuite or walk-in wardrobe, depending what you wanted.
Yeah.
It has a window here. It's a small room, but it would make it. The ceilings you could probably keep in here.
Yeah.
And then there's also quite a strange little feature I never seen in another house. This little cupboard halfway up the wall. Around the corner, there's stairs going up into an attic. I don't know if I can show you.
What is that? A shortcut to the stairs? Brilliant.
Yeah, it's good to happen. It's like a little hiding place. It's quite funny. But Yeah, it's a good sized room, this, compared to most bedrooms that we've seen.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
okay.
Why did you say
you've got another room at the end?
Okay, why would you take the ceiling down in the main room there, Sean? Because it looks like lovely. I mean, Pete was very interested in your wood earlier on, but why would you take that down?
Because, well, I'll just show you. I'll go into the. Do you want to bring the light? This is in the bathroom, and I took the ceiling out here, and you can see the roof space. So you'd have a really raised ceiling in there. All of these walls are not structural, so you'd have a really high ceiling, and you could see the wood then as well, of course.
The timbers of the
it's what I would do personally, but yeah,
and
it's quite nice to have the height.
Absolutely, maybe salvage a bit of tongue and groove as well. Paul is there as well. Good morning to you, Paul. How are you doing?
Hi, good. I'm just doing the lighting.
I see that. Today. I see that. We've got a full-on production crew here. A lighting man as well. Very good. Your secret staircase. That's so much fun, says Gail Lithgow. A secret staircase. That's really brilliant. And Louise, Lorna, plenty of space
we used to live in Amsterdam.
Oh yeah,
around the corner from the Anne Frank house, and it reminded me a little bit of a secret area in the house.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well,
I would take the ceiling out. I think it's not original. It was probably put in the 70s or something, and I think it would just give this room huge bit of character if you took that out. You don't have to, of course. It's completely up to you, but that's what I would do. Then into this half of the house, which has a concrete floor, tiled. Beautiful little window seat there with the original windows.
Oh, and then how lovely.
There's another room here, which was probably their kitchen with the fireplace.
Yeah.
Again, the tongue roof.
And just chandeliers everywhere.
Oh, of course. You have to have a chandelier.
Yes, indeed. Very classy. So much space there. So approximately how many square meters are we talking about of building space there, Sean?
Nice old tiles in this. Closed it off.
Amazing. I think he's gone to a corner of the house where the signal's not so great there, but we're getting a really good sense of this beautiful property. We'll ask Sean in a moment.
124 square meters altogether on the.
Oh, we lost him now. Well, I have anyway. I'm not sure if you've. Oh, here he is. He's back in the middle of the house.
Yeah, back in the middle. It seems like the best signal is here.
I think so. So let's chat to you while we've got you there. Let's chat to you. So 124 square meters of building. Someone was asking before about is there any growing space? Yeah, Fiona's interested to know, is there any land growing space there? And we will show this video after we've had the chat about the inside. But you've got lots of lovely growing space out there, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a really nice piece of land. It's just over 1,000 square meters, 1,080 square meters of good flat land. At the back of the house, which is really nice, and lots of room for a pool or a pony. But there's a little stone cottage also behind the house.
What?
Which is 2 floors, which you could convert into a nice little granny flat or a rental. So there's lots of potential here. Yeah, it's
incredible.
A good deal for somebody. We have just done the whole outside of the house. We plastered where it needed plastering and painted the whole house, so it looks really nice. And it's a nice village. Yeah, very peaceful. Okay. There's a little road in front, which is maybe, if there's 5 cars a day past the house, it's quite a lot. But
rush hour, is it?
So no, it's yeah. it's a good area. We love this area, and there's lots of friendly neighbours, and it stays green all year round.
All right,
which is good.
yes, that sounds good in Central Portugal. So, okay, tell us if you will. We got a few questions and observations, but tell us if you will a little bit more about Serta. You're in a small village which is near Serta, 7 kilometers away. Is that right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah. The prices are probably 10% lower than Serta, but probably 100% nicer because you've got a lot of space around you.
Yes.
And Serta is a beautiful town. It's really it has everything you need for really large supermarkets. A new Continent just opened there a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And with a Wharton, and there's health centre, of course, swimming pools, libraries, and there's everything you need really in Serta.
Okay.
And
so
then on the other side.
Yeah, sorry,
you're in between Pedroga Pequeno and Serta, really.
Oh,
so
very.
Pedroga Pequeno is a beautiful village. And,
yes, with a wonderful Sunday market.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's
okay.
yeah.
And then the nearest big town, Sean. Do you go to Castelo Branco for your nearest big town?
Well, we before all this coronavirus stuff, we have also some property in Porto. So we tend to do our shopping on the way to Porto. We always take the old road to Porto and stop at some Lidl's and Aldi's, and you can find a bit more international food there. But for all the basic stuff, you get everything around here. It's
okay, interesting. I'm feeling a song coming on. The old road to Porto sounds like an old Portuguese.
Yeah, it's a great road. It's a bit slower, but there's lots of businesses along it, and garden centres, and interesting little shops and family businesses that you just don't find anywhere else, really. So we prefer to take it a bit slower and take that road and avoid the tolls, of course, on the road.
Absolutely, yes, that's right. And you see real Portugal that way, don't you? Really, really
Definitely.
good.
Yeah.
So and I think Joel's calling it the Estrada Nacional, one of the old EN roads, probably the EN1, I suspect. Okay, Sean, Hank's asking, did you say 145 square meters on the building size?
124.
124. So there you go, Hank. 124, and then around 1,000 outside. I do have a video to show you of the outside, which I'll do in just a moment. But we need to do the kind of big reveal on the price. So we've got a little village near a little town, not that far away from the big city. A rural splendor, space to grow, to have a pony, a lot of room for sort of beautiful renovation there. And the asking price for this, Sean, for Maguire Mansion.
We're asking 60,000 euros, and we're open to offers.
Amazing. Did you hear that, folks? 60,000 euros. And while we were talking there, Sean just chucked in, oh yeah, there's a two-story cottage outside as well. I mean, it's incredible value. I love Pedroga Pequeno. I've been to the Sunday market there. Really fabulous part of the world. And, I think it's really important that we showcase Central Portugal. Anything else you want to say about the area or the house or anything there, Sean?
Yeah, just down the road a little bit in the next hamlet, there's also a really nice little cafe when it's open in summer, and they've a really good terrace there. It's a bargain for somebody. So there's also a builder's yard in the village here, which we believe it was the grandfather of those, the family are still here that owned this house. Yeah. And they had lots of stories about when their relatives came from Brazil, I think it was, and they would stay in that end of the house because that was the better end, where the big bedroom is. And then all the kids would have to cram into these little bedrooms on their own, like all together, like six maybe in one tiny bedroom.
Amazing.
So quite fun, and they're really nice people.
So much charm and character. Not unlike yourself, Sean, really.
Thank you.
and Paul. So I'll give everybody the outside tour that you sent me yesterday. in just a
Great.
moment. But thank you so much this morning for kicking off
Very welcome.
through the Quinta Keyhole, or show us yours, or whatever we're going to call our property feature, where people showcase their own properties here, which I think is always a lot of fun and very interesting. I can hear those people from Brazil running through the wooden floors there. So much atmosphere and character in that house. So good luck with the sale. I know you've done a reduction recently, haven't you? It was on the market at 69. It's now 60. I think a really brilliant investment for somebody. So lots of love to you, Sean and Paul. Have a great day.
Good. Thanks a lot. Great show. We really enjoy it.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. All right. Bye for now. So they're there to not keep Sean and Paul hanging on too much, and with the challenges, obviously, of the Wi-Fi link up. But that said, it wasn't so bad, was it? You see there that if you do work from home, you've got the chances of being able to do that with a connection there to. I'm not sure. I don't imagine it'll be fibre over there, but Sean might correct me on that. But certainly a work from home technological link. Let's go to the outside now. Be aware that there's a little bit of a wind, a wind warning. It's a bit blustery. It was made yesterday by Sean with a little bit of a walk around on the property. All right, so let's just go, because that's what Louise would say. We've got to see the outside. We've got to see the outside. So we will go there now for you, Louise, to have a little look around the perimeter. About a minute of footage, I think, here. So enjoy this.
So this is the land. It's approximately 1,080 square meters. Good flat land. Grapes growing along the border. And beautiful old cork tree here. Just across the road from the house. Must be a couple of 100 years old, if not more. There is a borehole, and there was a water tank which we've never used, but built by the last owner. So this road is the side road. A couple of little sheds here for goats or animals. This is the house. There's a garage and some sheds underneath. Large terrace at the end. Bus stop just right outside your door. Public tap. 1961. So let's go in. Original metal windows. This is the side entrance. A little kitchen area. Beautiful big orange tree here. Quite mature. Now this little house is a stone-built cottage, we call it, but it's been used as a shed. But it'd be quite easy to renovate it into a little two-story building with perhaps kitchen downstairs, and you'd have to make a small staircase going upstairs to a bedroom and a bathroom. And then at the end you have this really good sized terrace space. And that's your land again. There's another shed there, probably where they kept chickens or something.
Amazing. Look, yeah, and another shed there, and then another cottage there, and then all that land, and then a bus stop, and then a water source outside. It's got so much of what is fabulous about Central Portugal and Castelo Branco. Really seriously underestimated, underrated, I would say. Owen knows the area, truly beautiful. So what a lovely thing this morning to just put a little bit of a spotlight on that area in general, and then that fabulous property from Sean and Paul there. Simply beautiful, says Hank. You know, I wonder what that must be like through, you know, American and Californian eyes to see that part of, you know, rustic and rural Portugal. So let's take a look through some of your comments. I'm sure if you want to make an offer to Sean and Paul there, you know how to get in touch with them through the community here. Bon dia, Sean, looks great. How do you plan to insulate? And that's a good question, actually, Jerry. Thank you for that. In that part of Portugal, you do get extremes. Obviously, it was, as you could see there, it was a bit blustery and cold and rainy in the wintertime, and then really hot, up in the 40s in the summer. So you've got to know how to manage your Portuguese property in terms of, you know, bringing the shutters down, and then how to really get the a really good wood pile going to fire up the wood burning stove or whatever, and know how to look after yourself in the winter there. But so much potential. Gary's seeing the man cave potential. There really is, isn't there? You can have a sort of man cave complex, I think, a sort of man cave village, and have retreats, man cave retreats where people could go and live in primal man cave conditions. And we could broadcast from there on a Friday night. Eugene McCross. And hey, Eugene, how are you? Hola, bon dia. Great looking property, Sean. Best of luck to you, mate. Yeah, it was like a priest hole, or where the fairies live. Is that where the fairies live, said Pete. Even the shed, on even a shed I live in, the doors are low. Sometimes I forget and hit my head on them. Oh yeah, so I guess that's a sort of insulation thing in Portugal as well, isn't it? That to keep the openings and the windows quite small, obviously, because that helps keep a place warm. And Gail like that, so much fun. A secret staircase, yeah, and it's like a priest hole. That quick escape. Quick escape into the attic or away from the attic. Other questions and observations coming in. Yeah, Marcus Valbon saying, Hola, bom dia, Carl Certes near Pedrogo Pequeno. Yeah, I really love it around there. And there's a really wonderful reservoir where you can go swimming near Pedrogo Pequeno, as if I remember rightly. Owen, I think, can tell us more about that. But we had a lovely a day or so around there in that part of Portugal. Really, really charming. Some might say true Portugal. I love this. I think Louise is loving the through the Quinta Keyhole idea. Thing is, of course, they won't all be quintas that we show, because as you know, if you're looking at Portugal from afar, you'll see that, you know, there's property in Porto and Lisboa and the Algarve that certainly gets the spotlight on the property websites. But you have all of this as well. What a great idea, says Louise. I have a flat for sale if Tiffany wants to escape the rain in Portugal. That's an interesting twist on my feature there, Louise. Frank saying, Gary Austin, it doesn't have the paddle or other man cave essentials. Al Viagra is for now. Yeah, stay put where you are there, Gary. But I'm sure, you know, if it's wooden paddles you're looking for, you can probably pick them up at the Pedrogo Pequeno Sunday market. I'm sure I've seen such things there. All kind of tools that I couldn't really understand what they were for. Adrian Caffrey say, sure, I bet the crack is mighty fierce around there. I bet it is. Village life. When it comes back, you know, in the cafe there that Sean mentioned, I'm sure you'll walk in and have a lovely welcome from the locals and share an aguardente, like a Portuguese, you know, brandy, and have a lovely time with the locals there. A lovely property, says Pete, Sean and Paul. I am making a hole in my head. I'm sorry to hear that, Christina. Cannot find certa, only certa. So which is it? Important question. Does the house have water and electricity? Sean and Paul are still in agreement. Do you want to come back on and answer a few of these questions?
Well, we definitely have electric because the lights are on.
Yeah, indeed.
The water is in the street. We've never connected it. There's two sources. There's a borehole just at the top of the land, and there's mains water, of course, which you just get a contract from Certa, and they'll connect you.
Okay.
It has been there before because it's in the side of the wall. But we just, well, because we don't live here, we never connected it and used the tap across the road.
What a lovely idea. It's so nice, isn't it, to drink for water out the ground like that.
Yeah, the borehole should provide quite a bit of water.
Tremendous. Okay. Some question about...
Also good for the garden.
Yeah. Of course it is, yeah. Certa with a little accent on the A. That is the Certa that Christina needs to be looking for, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Joel will say, I'm not sure if the bus still goes to that stop. Small villages usually only have the bus in the morning and late afternoon.
Castelo
Are there still
Branco.
buses coming in and out of the village there? You have a village bus that will take you to Ceuta?
That's true.
We see the school kids getting on, and so it does go. But as I say, I'm not here. Don't ask me the times, but it does go still. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
There's a bus station in Ceuta.
All right, interesting question from Hank. How much would you rent a property like that for? I mean, are there rentals that you're aware of in that sort of area, Sean?
Well, when we moved here 12 years ago, it was really difficult to get a rental. And we ended up renting a house which was so damp, the water was really running down the walls in winter. We would have been better off in a tent. But to be honest, we don't rent. We tend to just do places up and sell them. But I know there is a lot of rentals around, and there's a really good guest house in Ceuta. I know Lauren Bay. She has a really good guest house there. A lovely English lady, and I think it's we've done it in Amsterdam, renting for years and years, and we had a guest house in the center of Amsterdam, and we've been there and done that.
Oh, sounds like fun. Okay. It sounds like you want to take it a little bit easier now. Bon dia and condolences. Oh, thanks, Doreen. That's very kind of you. Looks like plenty of trees to hug with lots of privacy for the nudists. I mean, there's something for everybody here. Probably quite a private garden for such naturistic activities as well, Sean. Funny bunch, this lot.
Yeah, you need to put up a good fence around it, and it would be very private. At the moment, there's just grapes growing around the border, but absolutely, naturists are rocking.
Okay, careful where you put the pruning shears. We have a little that I can see from the kitchen window about 100 meters away. Looks very similar inside as this featured house. How lovely. Bon dia from snowy Pennsylvania this morning from UB there. And lots of lovely comments. Thank you all for that. How wonderful. Sean, thanks again. Did we forget anything?
I don't think so. I think we just need a buyer now, and that's it.
All right, fantastic. And we can all meet up when the time comes and have a celebrate with a drink in that local little cafe there. Sean, Paul, thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Ciao, ciao. Have a great day.
Ciao.
Good luck with the sale. How wonderful there. I think that's captured quite a few imaginations around the place. Thank you for that comment as well there, Frank. The thing I want to add to this, and I'd like your views on this, is I just think this makes the most extraordinary investment. I struggle to, I can't be alone. This is Consumer Tuesday. We're talking about money. We're talking about property. We're talking about the economy, as we've done with Kate here on a Tuesday. And obviously at the moment with the challenge ahead of the difficulties, that are in the post with the economy, people are talking about, what's the best thing to do to cope, to survive, to invest, etc. And there's talk about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, of course. Silver has been on the agenda, isn't it? Buy silver. Get out of the stock market after that funny thing happened at the weekend with GameStop or whatever they were called, and people thinking about how to manage their investments, how to survive in what's sure to be a recession heading our way. And to me, it's a property like that Sean's got there strikes me, or one like it. It might be that you buy something that's a little bit more developed and renovated, so you have got the rentable potential that Hank was talking about. But to me, I haven't had an answer to this question yet. Pete might be able to answer this, but you can't sort of eat or live in silver, can you? I know it's a commodity that you can exchange, but to me, on a very sort of practical common sense level, one of the best investments must be shelter and water and fruit trees and a nice place to live. And if you can do that for what Sean and Paul have got there for €60,000, wouldn't that be a very sensible, common sense investment to make? And these sorts of places are available all over Portugal. This is not a massive amount of money, is it, in the scheme of property? Let's face it, €60,000, and as Sean said there, you might need another 10 or 15 to do it up to the level you want. But is it because Portugal is such a well-kept secret that people don't think like that and think, well, okay, well, why don't I just buy property? Because I've got my own. If you've got a property in Portugal that has a water source, that has fruit trees, and that is literally shelter. It is a place to live should you need it. It is a bolt hole in a quiet, rural and beautiful area. Wouldn't that be one of the most sensible investments to make? I don't know why that isn't more the case. I really don't understand it. From Susan, thanks to Sean and Paul for sharing their property. Good luck with the sale. Kate, good point here, Kate. It's a challenge to make old Portuguese properties sustainable. They lack insulation. A few people seem to install heat exchangers, which can heat in the winter and cool in the summer. Yeah, I think that's going to catch on, Kate. This idea of using aircon as both heating and cooling, of course, and you would need that in Castelo Branco. It gets very hot in the summer and definitely a bit cooler and damper as we've observed in the winter. So that's a really good sort of evolutionary change, I think, in renovation there, is to think about air conditioning, which is also heating. Great idea. And not that expensive either. Has anyone used TransferWise to fund transfers, conversions to you? I think they're thinking about buying the place already here. That's what I'm saying here with UB. And Gail says, yes, easy and good way to move funds using TransferWise. Here on Consumer Tuesday, where we're swapping those sorts of tips, Hank says, I set up a Charles Schwab account to do it for when I come over. I understand the exchange rate is really good. Thanks for that intel there, Hank. I think Central Portugal is definitely on the up because it's good value for money and a great place to live. One of the unofficial ambassadors of Central Portugal there, Gary. Completely agree. That's the part of Portugal I fell in love with straight away, over 10 years ago. Maybe a good spot to expand upon your communal living ideas. It lends itself very well, Doreen, doesn't it, to a communal place? Or the old folks' home that we're thinking of starting up there. And, there'll be a lot of work for the old folks to do. We could put them to work, couldn't we, straight away? Keep them busy, keep them active and fit, doing the place up. We could maybe set up for an off-grid lifestyle. Yeah, potential's there, isn't it? For certainly for solar there and ground source heating as well. Mum says, and you've got to listen to Persian Mum here, haven't you? With good advice. Always invest in land. God is not making it anymore. Oh yes, Frank's mum. Very, very sensible advice there. Yeah, invest in land. And here in Portugal, land with trees on it, land with water coming out of it. Awesome. €60,000. You can find a very good house in the central of Portugal for sure. Thank you, Marcos there. Thank you for all the comments. Ditto with Charles Schwab, says Peggy. We've been really happy. So really good endorsement there of Charles Schwab. And other facilities available, of course. Do go to our business directory to get support and big discounts off all the support you need for moving to Portugal. Let me put that link up in our comments here. Yeah, become a premium member, €47, and you'll get good discounts off a whole package of things there on our business directory. Gail Lithgow, thanks very much. I'm starting a Portugal visa. He says, I'm a bit nervous about money evaporating. Yeah. And that's the other thing, isn't it? If you invest it into bricks and mortar and land, that, again, just as God isn't making any more of it, you've got your solid investment there, haven't you? You can see it in front of your very eyes. And you can see oranges coming out of the trees. It's a miracle, folks. I completely agree with Kate. Heat pumps are the way forward, especially with solar power. So much potential. I think there's a discussion group going to emerge there on these alternatives of renovation and insulation and heating and so on. We need to talk about that more for sure over there on the Expats Portugal forum. The ATM is free and you can get some several times a week. This is a TransferWise or Charles Schwab, one of those two account, PT account plussed up. Oh, I see. That's a really good way of putting it. Yeah, keeping money in the bank there. Gary and Carl says, Hank has me really considering Coimbra once we get our D7. Yeah, for sure. The capital of Central Portugal, Coimbra. Like I've said before, it's a great base camp. Great show. Have to dash and we'll watch the rest later. Thank you. Pleasure, Louise. Yeah, I think we're going to wrap up this morning anyway in just a moment, unless any more questions come in. But been a good one and a launch of our feature through the Quinta Keyhole. Show us yours. Bring your property onto the screen. Let's have a chat about it. No fees and a good exchange rate. Thank you for that, Peggy. Of course, it's beautiful, Gary. I live here. With a big lol from Owen. Yeah, it is a big attraction for the area, having Owen Lloyd-Martin on your doorstep, who can sing, who can cook. I mean, he's a hell of a guy. Wise mum, says Riesel Furtado, talking about Frank's mum there. Kate, we do need to speak to somebody about crypto. Cryptocurrency uses unconscionable amounts of power to mine. Yeah, that's the side of it that doesn't always get talked about. No one who cares about climate change should have anything to do with crypto. Oh, Kate, that's a very bold assertion, but you do know what you're talking about in these matters. I know, and that's aside from the fact that it has no intrinsic value. Tulip mania, which we laugh about now, was sensible in comparison. Oh yeah, that was the big kind of bubble, wasn't it? South Sea bubble, the tulip thing in the Netherlands there, I think, where people lost a lot of money. Intrinsic value, that's what I was talking about, Kate. You don't have to look further than Central Portugal and the sort of property Sean was showing us there for intrinsic value. You have land, you have trees, you have water, you have shelter. You can't get better intrinsic value than that, in my view. And I don't know why people don't get that. The blue and yellow ATMs, I do not recommend. Oh, here's a good tip. Yeah, those blue and yellow ATMs that you'll be drawn towards as you're desperate to get some money out after you've been in a little tashka that says, no multibanco, you've got to pay in cash. You run to a cash machine in Portugal. Beware of the blue and yellow ones that will put massive premiums and give you a terrible exchange rate. Even the Portuguese know they're a trap with withdrawing cash from them. Nice one, Joel. Yeah, stay away from the blue and yellow. You know the ones we mean. Location. If it's just for business, you're better off buying real estate in areas mostly desired by tourists and foreigners. Very good point, Christina. But we do have to factor into that, do we not? The future of tourism and how money's made. I think tourism in the long term should be long-term tourism, i.e. people staying for more than a weekend, more than a 3-day trip. We can't sustain that as a model for tourism. I think people need to come for a week, 2 weeks, a month. This digital nomad thing, people moving around for big chunks and being more mobile. That's one model I think that will develop. And of course, at the moment, given that we've all learned how to work from home, or a lot of us have, location, maybe not such a big issue. People want to get out in the wilds, don't they? They want to get away from the madness of the cities. And, if we're talking about pandemic infection, your chances are greatly improved, I would have thought, if you go out into the wilds, into more remote and rural places. And again, abundance. We are so blessed with that in Portugal. I think 60% of the population is in the major conurbations, leaving Central Portugal and the outback deserted in many ways, but not to the point of sometimes to the point of dilapidation, but there is still life in Central Portugal, which is not always the case in some other Southern European countries, where life has truly left. It's still hanging on in there in Central Portugal, as Sean was saying. You still got your cafes, the important lifeblood. So I totally get your point, Christina, about location. And I would say people can be a bit more adventurous now. You don't have to stick to the big cities, where, of course, it's going to be a whole lot more expensive. Owen really makes the area. I mean, sure, Jesus can walk on water, but Owen can swim on land. Thanks, Hank. Carl, when you say we're going to start an old folks home, can you clarify the wee bit, please? Yes, good. Another good point of order there. Jerry is distancing himself and Expats Portugal. I thought you liked the faulty towers old folks home idea, Jerry. You just want to visit occasionally, right? You don't have to have anything to do with it on an ongoing basis. I get it. I own that as my little idea of an old folks home. Yes, when I say we, I'm using the royal we of the Munson family and not generalizing that to Expats Portugal. Nice one, Jerry. Thank you very much. Pam E, it's good to know there are such great values available in real estate there. I can't wait to come and explore. Absolutely, Pam. And that's another side to it. Spoilt for choice, as I say. even touring around in central Portugal, looking at all these beautiful properties, is a beautiful adventure in its own right as well. So enjoy that part of it as well. Amen to that, says Hank. Just mention about crime and safety. Must mention about crime and safety. Yeah, another good reason, of course, to be away from the big urban centres. You know your neighbours in a place like that. And I imagine if we'd asked Sean about how safe he feels in that little village near Ceuta, I imagine the answer would be very safe indeed. Gary, do you have more to say about that? It's the start of the Ceuta Massive. with the honorary resident, he can swim on land. Owen, is he the godfather of the Ceuta Massive? I wonder. It's sounding more and more attractive with each mention. Agritourism, working the land, is big in Italy. Okay, so there we go. Another angle on this for the regeneration, the repopulation, and the just sort of putting love and life back into central Portugal. The idea of agritourism sounds amazing. And of course, the wine part of it, the tours of the wine producing areas. Where I live in Matosinhos, still farms and fields are a thing, even though I live just 7 kilometers from the coast and 15 minutes, from Porto. Yep. I think we've made the case well this morning in bigging up life in central Portugal and the great value, the experience of rural life. Something that I think we, in this pandemic year, which presumably is what it's being called now, as we get to the year point, we've been reassessing our values, haven't we? Where do we want to live? Do we want to be in the big cities? I spoke to an old mate yesterday, just moved from London to Norfolk. He says there's something of an exodus going on. The anonymity, the feeling of safety or not in the big cities, I think, has come under the spotlight, and you can understand why people are moving further into a field, if you like. And with the advent of great technology, it's doable, it's possible. You can work from where you live, and you can live in a beautiful place. And my goodness, we are well blessed with them, as we've seen this morning. Hold on a minute. I'm reading some of these comments now before I put them on screen. I'm not sure of this one, Kevo. What does that mean? Is over because very high. If you want PMs by physical only and no other form. Okay, so this is an investment tip, I think, from Kevo. I see silver, AG. If you want silver, we've got everything here this morning, haven't we? Until this short squeeze play is over, because the physical premiums are very high. Okay, and this is the what was it? Fear of missing out, the FOMO thing, isn't it? With investment, the word goes up. You would get silver, and then the premiums go up as well, as I think you're saying, Kev O here. If you want PMs by physical only, what are PMs? Let me know, Kev, and no other form. Okay, that's an interesting little bit of sort of financial and investment intel there. And Gary saying you don't need secret police, you have grandmothers. They are the CCTV, keeping an eye on you through the window. And I love that as well. You're walking around, the more rural areas of Portugal. You say bom dia, boa tarde, to an old lady or an old gentleman sat on their doorstep. They really are. They are the CCTV of the village. And you can get to feel a part of things with that. Absolutely wonderful point, Gary. Just want to point out, you can buy entire depopulated villages in Italy for very little money. Portugal is not the only country with such opportunities. Yeah, Kate, absolutely. But what I love about Portugal is that it hasn't gone to entire depopulation and dilapidation. I think it's really important to tie your boat to or hitch your ride with the life that's still left in these villages, right? Doing that alone, regenerating life in a village, I think, is very difficult. As idyllic and as beautiful as it may seem, lifeblood, sociability, other people, people you get on with, people you don't get on with, people who are like you, people who aren't like you. That's the nature of village life, isn't it? And the human scale that I think so many of us long for. And given what's gone on just recently, have a sense to return to, possibly. Okay, PM is physical money. Problem is, it weighs a ton, dragging all that around. Precious metals, gold and silver. I think we do need to get somebody on who can talk about crypto, and notwithstanding Kate's comments, let's get someone on to talk about crypto. Let's talk about investments of this kind, precious metals, gold and silver. And Jay, hi Jay, good morning to you in Wales. Precious metals, although in these here parts better known as property matters. Yeah, a lot of different types of PM this morning. Personal messages, of course, as well. Safaro wants me to check Messenger. Do you want me to do that before the end of the show? Is that news just in? Yeah, weighs a ton. All of that. Yeah, carrying around your precious metals and your cash. It doesn't weigh as much as a house, but you don't want to, you're not going to be moving that anytime soon, are you? Changes with the Golden Visa are meant to push people more out into the sparsely populated parts of the country, aren't they? Yes, indeed. Where the threshold is $500,000 for the big cities, you can invest in the outback for 350,000. That is subject to change. Keep an eye on our webinar series for that, Portugal Calling, on a Thursday. I'm sure we will talk more about that. But yeah, the Portuguese government is doing all sorts of things to encourage the repopulation of those sparsely populated areas, Hank. Thank you for that. I want a home in the city and one in nature near the sea. Maybe I should buy some Bitcoin or invest in precious metals. Seems to be what a lot of people are doing at the moment, Doreen. Yes, says Joel. He wants me to look. Hold up. So talk quietly, politely, or talk as loudly as you want among yourselves. Just while I take a look at this PM from Joel. The old machine's a bit slow this morning, so it's a bit slow to load there, Joel. As we come up to 10 o'clock. Oh, yes, this is great. He sent me the UK and USA CCTV systems and then compares it. I've got to put this on the screen. You're absolutely right, Joel. So let me just do a quick screen share and see if I can get. Thank you for sending me this, mate. Much appreciated. Let's see now if we can bring that on. Here we go. This is the system. As you can see there, top left and top right, for those listening on the podcast. Sorry about the mess up on the podcast yesterday, everybody. There was a minute's of dead air at the beginning, so apologies for that. Shouldn't happen again. UK left, CCTV camera. USA right, 2 CCTV cameras. Portugal below, 4 Donnas looking out of their windows. Ask them if there's anything you want to know about your neighborhood. Nice one, Joel. Thank you very much for that. So last few comments this morning, and let's let you go on your way this morning. Where did we get to? Yes, about precious metals and money weighing a ton. Maria Rosa, good morning, Maria Rosa. You know, Tomar is a small town in the center of Portugal, and from there you can do and go everywhere. It's a Templar city included in a route, as well as the Santiago. Yep, of course the Compostela type route there. It's safe, and you also have a lot of nature. Tomar has so much to commend it. Yeah, of course. Another central Portugal sub-capital there. Tomar, if you don't know about Tomar, find out about Tomar. Visit there on your trip around, on your research trip. And a new development in the centre of town, which looks very promising there. Bon Dia, nice place. How is the state of the roof? Pretty sound, I think, Gianni, but do get in touch with Sean for the absolute correct information on that. Why is Frank 4 stories up giving property advice? Never trust a Persian with binoculars. All meant in the best possible taste. Bon dia. Speaking of vino, I raised a glass to Bucko earlier tonight. Hugs to you and to the family from California. Oh, Thane, thanks so much for that. Thank you to everybody who sent me condolences and best wishes and raised a glass to Bucko, who used to love a glass of wine. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. UB, invest in crypto only. Those monies you can afford to lose. I mean, it's the same, isn't it, UB? And in your humble opinion, in mine too, only invest what you can afford to lose. That is in the nature of investment and should be a ground rule, right? Thanks, Carl. Speak soon. And on that matter, you know, with an investment in property, you can at least still live there, can't you? Even if value drops, you still have. If you have your fruit trees, that, you know, if you think about fruit trees and the investment in fruit trees, that's a pretty solid investment. When I look out of my window and see how many oranges come from nature and water coming from the ground, if you invest in those sorts of things, you may not be as disappointed as you would be with evaporating or even, you know, invisible things like crypto. And I suppose with precious metals, there is consolation that you can look at your certificates. Wow. Or sit among, like King Midas, among your piles of precious metals, thinking about the good times you're going to have and when you can get out there and exchange them again. as you can tell, for me, it's about the property thing is the obvious thing. Thanks, Carl. Speak soon, says Sean. Lovely to speak to you this morning, Sean and Paul. Good show, Carl. Managed to stay till the end this time. You need a medal. I've been waffling a lot. But we've had a lot, there's been a lot to share and say this morning. So, Ginny, God bless you for staying right till the end, till 10 o'clock. Tamar is fantastic and only 30 mins from me, says Gary, talking about the wonderful Central Portugal again. I bet Peggy's thinking, I'm a little bit worried now. The Algarvenator, when it comes to taking on the representative, whoever that's to be of Central Portugal, in the battle for the best bit of Portugal, we've sung the praises, good and strong, of Central Portugal this morning. Be afraid, any other contenders. The roof is good, says Sean. News just in about that lovely property we started with. Tamar, the former residence of Lord Allen from Tejo, of course. Yeah, he'll have a few good words to say about Tamar. Will Neil Perkins, another wonderful member of our community. Let Eugene out for a few minutes and he starts piping in. No good deed goes unpunished. Absolutely, Frank. It's nice to see that rare bird that is Eugene McCrossan though this morning. Usually seen in the man cave. I have some crypto, however, only a speculation. I will bump them very quickly if needed. They have no asset value. We're learning things here. The NAV. We've learned about PMs. We've learned about NAV. Tulips and .coms. Be careful. Precious metal has no net asset value and monetary value. And are we talking about precious metals there? No net asset value. I mean, the idea of precious metals isn't it? In the worst of circumstances, you do have something tangible that you can trade with, but still you can't eat it. Never heard anyone say, "Gee, I wish I had less real estate." That's a good way of looking at it. I share my crypto story sometime. Yes, looking forward to that, Hank. That'll be over that long-awaited beer, won't it? Yeah, and Lee McGrady agreeing with your mum. Invest in land. They don't make it anymore unless they're leveraged too much. Don't do that. More great insights coming in on investment. Hank Stelica, yes, because people mostly bought properties in Lisbon and Porto, and that raised prices in those cities, pushing the locals away. That's an awful thing. That is an awful thing, and something that we will be minded to be careful about. That it's just wrong when it gets to that level, isn't it? That local people are hounded out of their own places of residence through generations. That can't be right on any level. There's mention here from Maria Roja. What we call the Blue Lake, it's beautiful. I think that's a reference to Dornesh, and I can absolutely underwrite that as being really good information. Dornesh is so beautiful and special. There are great lakes and reservoirs to swim in around there. Absolutely wonderful. She's right about Tamar. Bring it on, Peggy. It's the Battle of the Algarve and Central Portugal. Crypto is not an investment, it's a gamble, says economist. Our resident economist, Kate Gimblett. So we've got a resident artist, we've got a resident head gardener, Lee. We had our artist in residence yesterday, and this is Kate, our chief economist, speaking to you folks. Hank, I heard people were angry with foreigners buying property out from under people, the golden visas. Well, you can understand that, can't you? And it's all about balance, isn't it? Balancing these things. I'm not saying that foreign people shouldn't invest, but I'm also saying that people shouldn't be hounded out of the neighbourhoods in which they've lived forever. Surely we could. I mean, isn't that what government's for? Local government, central government, to help balance that process? You'd hope so, wouldn't you? We have a problem like that here we call gentrification. Of course, it happens all over the world. It happened in Barcelona, didn't it? Amsterdam, all of these great attractive places, it seems to happen. But they have their various and interesting responses to the problem, of course. Not sure if you use the same word there or not. Yeah, absolutely. Gentrification is something we recognise, Hank. And yes, says Maria Rosa, I'm talking about the beautiful Dornesh. Let's leave it there, folks. Just after 10 here on, where are we? We what day is it? Terça-feira, this is a hard one. Fevereiro. I think February. I've really struggled to get my mouth around that. As the actress said to the bishop, Fevereiro, 2 de Fevereiro, 2021, and Terça-feira today. Thank you for being here this morning. Really appreciate it. Again, thank you for all the lovely best wishes and condolences for my stepfather, Bucko. Make sure, if you haven't already, raise a glass. That's what he would really appreciate, raising a glass of vino. Agreed, Carl. Finally, it's their country and we're just guests, and we need to remember that. Absolutely. Fevereiro. Am I saying that right? Obrigado, ciao from UB. In the most typical bairros of Lisbon, investors bought entire buildings, kicked the residents, usually old people paying very low rents, and turned them into alojamento local, the local lodgings. Yeah, it's grim. You know, I can't see a defense of that. I guess only the most sort of hard-hearted Gordon Gekko type capitalists will say, well, that's show business. Take care, everyone. Nothing but love to everyone from Hank. Be safe. The end is in sight, especially to all our friends in Portugal going through the thick of it right now. Thank you, Hank. Thank you for that. Cheers all. See you tomorrow from Joel. Thank you. And don't forget to taste bacalhau. That's brilliant. That's random, brilliant, and appropriate. Don't forget to taste bacalhau, everybody. And sorry for your loss, Cole. Hang on in there, brother. Cheers, Hank. Thank you all so much. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. It's Wednesday tomorrow. Ask anything about Portugal Day. Always popular, always fun. See you there. Ciao, ciao. Te logo.